Tá.
Hello. In this video, I will try to give you my personal vision about how to rock with electric guitar. To do this, you need an electric guitar, a twin jack cable, big, this size, twin, and an amplifier. It can also be useful to have a star key. Where is the star key? Aha, the star key. Star key. Star key is four-edged, like you can see here, maybe. Four-edged, all direction. And it's useful if you sometimes have to repair something somewhere, but don't worry too much about this now. So I will go now piece by piece and try to give some tips and advice about what are we talking about here and how we can maximize the results we get for Start to Rock. First, the guitar. An electric guitar is like a regular guitar, except that it has no sound box. When you play with the strings, it does not give a big sound that everybody can hear around. Instead, you get like this, which are the pickups. Electric guitar strings are made of steel, and these pickups are like magnetic antennas to steel, and they will suck the sound that you are doing, and it will transport through these meters here to the output. One of the jacks will be here on the output, which can be here, doesn't matter. You don't have to have a lot of this stuff around. If it has only one in your guitar, it's okay, it's the volume one. I have one volume and two tone, and this is for switching pickups. But actually, to rock, you don't need all this stuff going around. You just need the volume, and it's okay. How to pick the right electric guitar for playing rock. I think you should go for the cheaper one, because you just want to rock. You are not getting really professional right now. You want to rock, so go for the cheap model, which has everything working fine. And look for this, if these two are okay when you buy it, to put the stretch and play on your feet. Okay. I advise a place of confidence where they will not sell you something that is fucked up inside. Later, if you need, I can teach you how to fix things inside and hands and all, but that is too much way for beginning. Let's fuck it for now. Okay, so now we understand what is going on. I will now put the strings and try to show you the best way to put strings on an electric guitar for you to get the maximum time where you can use it without the steel going fucked up, which is very much frequent in electric guitars. Like in a classic guitar, you can get a string for years, always playing and it never breaks. But on electric guitar, because they are made of steel, they break a lot more frequently, mostly the thinner ones. And okay, I'm going to try to explain. Electric guitar strings are numbered. They always come with a number. There are different numerations, but it's always the same logic, which is the ones from the up, the bigger ones, will have the bigger numbers. And the ones from the down, the thinner ones, will have the smaller numbers. So, in this case of these ones I have here, they have a, like, tracking system, I don't know, but you see, it starts with the big one, 42, and it goes to 32, and 24, and all that shit. So I begin on 42, up, all the way up. Sometimes they come like 6, 5, 4. In this case, 6 is the beginner, first is the last. I will begin with this 6. And I will show you how to correctly put a string on an electric guitar. Most of the times they come like this, like around herself, but here it is. We always have it like this, if it is normal. This is an important thing too, which is here you always get the same, like the toners, but here you can get different systems. The most usual system is tremolo system, which is like this. You cannot move it. It's like stuck, and it has a little hole here for a tremolo, which is a little higher, and that goes like this. But I don't have one. I lost it. Anyway, here this one is the tremolo one, and tremolo one is the best for beginners. There are other ones like Floyd Rose, which is this system around here with a lot of fire, and you can go but it's a lot more rare and expensive, and for beginners it will just get you crazy because even the strings are more rare and different for Floyd Rose. So you just want a regular tremolo system where the strings come like this. This is the point that goes here, and on the other side it has a string that will attach where I will show you. See? If you see the logic, you start all the way up. In this case, the guys have put here some holes, which are very nice, but maybe sometimes you will have to open something to get to the holes. I don't know how your guitar works. But we can see about that later. My guitar works like this, and all the guitars too, except for the finishment and all. So, I'm going to try to, there are many different ways of doing things. I will try a different approach this time, which is to look through the hole and try to fit it. I did it. So, here it is, our first champion. He comes around here. I have this, my guitar has this little system. This is nothing special really, but you go until you see, okay, it's well stuck by that little point of iron you saw before. And you come here. You see if everything is all right here, if the right space is filled here, you know. And here comes a very important part. You can just come here and put it like this. And you go all the way, haha, and you have it stretched. But the best way is not actually that way. It's actually just put a little bit like this, not too much, this is okay, and you will put it like this below. You see? And now the part that comes, you will put it like this, and you put your finger, you see, the one that started below, and the following up. You put and you start to tune it up. You never let it go too up, you know, you try to always keep it down. If this guy comes around again, you always try to put it down again. Whoa, this is not very nice. But you will just like this. Come on, don't leave me wrong. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. And you go all the way up. Always the first one down, the other one up. You try to keep always the thing down as you are rolling. And first pronto que pausa agora sim. Ta-da! This method will be a much more nicer choice than to straight it all up from the beginning, because with this method, when you go around for a lot of time, you get your strings to long better, because they are not so stretched and they have a margin of maneuver where they can come back again and you can stretch again, and this way your strings will go much further in time without breaking up. If you put a lot of tension from the beginning, there is a good chance that in not so much time you will get your string kaput and you will have to buy a new one. It's also a nice advice that you have also an extra pack of strings in case you suddenly one day break one. Then you have the extra pack where you can have the extra string and you replace it right away, instead of having to go to the music shop and wait a lot till you get your job done. So now we have our strings ready, and now comes the tuning of the guitar. So the best way to tune a guitar is by starting by the first one, number 6, which is actually Mi. If you put the 6th string in the frequency of Mi, you are playing like most of the professionals play. It's like standard note for 6th. You can have a tuner that little boxes with lights, but it's even more easier if you go like to YouTube or internet and you look for, I want to hear the sound Mi. You hear the frequency and you try to put it like la. It's already very good. That I could do la la. It's no problem. You can tune whatever you hear. You just have to compare the frequencies until you see, oh, this is okay. But you don't have to use Mi as your regular affination. You can have another note as your first note. That depends on what you want. Like some guys, like from the new metal or the heavier stoner, they like to use very low tunings to get a real fucked up sound. But I really do not enjoy too much that kind of playing. I like the Mi stuff. But actually, for you to rocking out, if you will not sing along or you will not play with other members on a band or like this, you can tune it wherever you want and you feel comfortable. If you start to sing along or play with other guys, it's better that you have a definite note, that defined note that you use all the times over and over. So, to tune an electric guitar, you first choose where you want to start with this one. We're going to start like this, like here. And then you always come to the 5th space where you will see where you have to get your next frequency, like this. And You go and see. Already very good. And you repeat the process. Number 5. Very good. Not so good. There is only one exception, which is here. On this string, number 2, you don't tune it by the 5th, but by the 4th. You come here on string number 3, on the 4th place, and you see. And you get number 2 going. Already very good. And then on the end, you get normally as all the other ones. 5th space. Already good. So the only exception is here on the 3rd, you go here, and you get the 2nd by the 4th space instead of the 5th. Like this, you have your guitar tune. This is not so good tune because the strings are very new and they have to gain little bit of bedding. But in a few times it will be very okay and it will not be so this mumbo jumbo in sound terms. So we have the guitar ready with all the strings, it's tuned, so we can get to the sound part. You get the other end of the jack here on the input. Like now I'm going to explain about amplifiers. Amplifiers usually have one tweeter, the same as a sound column from a normal stereo, or it can have 2 tweeters or 4 tweeters, doesn't matter. This one is a small one, it has 1 tweeter inside, as you can see on the bus. And it has a tech board. All the amplifiers have tech boards, which can be very similar to this one or a little different. Usually they are here on the front, from the tweeter, and sometimes they are here on the back, like the tweeter here and the tech board is here. Either way, it's the same. So, what is the most important thing to learn about amplifiers and tech board? First of all, before you put on your amplifier, put all the meters down. If you have them up with the guitar ready and all, you can make such a noise or such a bad electricity contact that your amplifier can just go away and it's screwed. But if you do like this, there's still risk of that happen. You put everything down and you turn on the volume. It's now off. I'll put it on. All the amplifiers have an on and off button, so you will not mess with that. And usually they have a volume button. Everybody understands volume. It's like in the guitar or in a regular stereo. The rest is where the things start to get a little bit friskier, but actually they are not as friskier as that. My tech board is very simple. It only has 3 buttons, as you can see: the volume, the voice, and the gain. Voice in my amplifier serves to mean low tones or either high tones. It's all a matter of modeling the frequency to see if you can get a lower sound or an upper sound. In more complex amplifiers, this will not be seen by the name of voice. It will be divided into more categories, like treble or bass or stuff like that. But the principle is the same. It's for you to model the frequencies. You model the volume, how high is it or low, and then you model the frequencies. If you want to have a higher pitch sound, or a lower pitch sound, it depends on the type of music you want to play. Also, if you want to play rock and roll, you will have to have, for sure, a button like this, which will say drive, or gain, or overdrive, or distortion, or abbreviated dist. It doesn't matter. If your amplifier does not have a button like this, it is no good to play rock and roll. Some amplifiers are better to simulate the sound of rock and distortion. This one is pretty good, I like it. It's most inexpensive and it rocks very alright. So, when you turn your amplifier with your distortion off, you get a clean sound, much similar to a classical guitar, but not with the same quality and brilliance. So I will just show. We can put the frequencies here in the middle, and we will just put a little volume, and we... You get pretty much the classical guitar experience for whatever you may like to play on a clean guitar sound. So, how do we start rock in terms of sound? I will not go much further. I will just say basic principles that I think should go mentioned in any way. So, you pick up the distortion button, now it is on. Usually it comes with a light. Mine has no light, but most have a light that goes on when gain or drive goes on. And then, what is the difference now between the sound? You are still getting a clean sound, but as you start to put more gain or overdrive or distortion, you start to get the rock sound. But actually, you can work this at your favor depending on the type of music you want to play. Like, if you want to play like some blues or rock and roll, old school, you will not want to put the gain or the overdrive too much high. You just put a little bit and you already are getting it's that kind of sound like. Or if you start to put the distortion all the way up, you then can choose the type of frequency you can use, and that will make a whole different type of rocking sound, you know? Like, if you put all the tone down, you will get the sound very similar to the stoner bands or more rock and roll sledge bands like. And if you put all the other ways, you will get a more thrash metal sound. So, it will actually be your experience and your playing on the amp equalizer that will ultimately get the sound you really like and you really want. There are a few tricks that work on an electric guitar that will not work on a classical one, and I think I can mention a few just for reference and for that you in the future explore maybe new potentialities with your guitar playing. So, stuff like this. can get a lot of playing with your pick and on your strings, like. So, other techniques are the harmonics, which are very strong on the electric guitar with distortion, like this. The new metal guys use this a lot, like. And then you can also get the false harmonics, which are a little bit trickier, like. But these ones you can model at your will. You can do it like this. You get your pick this way, and you will get it on the string, and you will give it the note. But after you give the note, you must amper a little bit here with a finger. So like this. What? You can take it from different places, but there are a lot of guys on the internet that will explain this better than me. One of the most crucial ones is the palm mute. The palm mute is like ultra extra important for good rocking. Like the palm mute is like this. How do you do this shit? You put your hand like this, and you put it like this, and you go. And you have to put it in the right place, which is like this. So you can try until you get to the same time. And finally you see the right spot. You can come from the other side, like this. You can do it in all the strings. It's very good and very important and everything. And what more can I say? The tapping stuff, like you can do it like this or like that. Anyway, tapping. And finally, the main goal is when you start to feel comfortable enough to start to shred. Shredding is when you start to make a compilation of all the techniques you know, and you start to make some kind of mixture between all and going crazy, like something like this. You know? Doesn't matter. So this is it. I hope you enjoy your guitar experience, and any doubts you can contact, and maybe I can make a new video about anything you need about repairing equipment, or maybe this technique or that, and like so. Have a nice day and a nice life too.